I don't know if you're feeling this the same way I am, but something is shifting around this team right now. It's like you can feel the front office pacing, looking at this roster, knowing we're close, but not close enough. And when that happens, big decisions start brewing. Because on one side, there's a move brewing around a massive presence up front, the kind of body that changes the way offenses line up against you. And on the other side, there's whispers about a potential blockbuster move that could completely reshape the edge of this defense overnight. Two different paths, two different types of aggression, but both pointing to the same thing. This team knows it needs more firepower on defense. And if you're a real Niners fan like me, you know that when this organization starts poking around the defensive line, it usually means something serious is coming. We've built our identity there before, and it feels like they're trying to do it again. I'm telling you right now, what's happening behind the scenes could define how dangerous we are next season. So before we break this all down, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. The 49ers Nation Report is new, and I only want the real ones here. The fans who truly believe this team is going back to the Super Bowl next year. If that's you, you're in the right place. Let's get into the first situation, because this one is sneaky important. The 49ers are showing serious interest in defensive tackle Xavier Harris out of Ole Miss. And when I say serious, I mean they conducted a formal interview with him at the 2026 NFL Scouting Combine. That's not just casual small talk. That's them doing homework. And when you look at Harris physically, the dude is a behemoth. Verified at 6'8", 330 pounds, with extremely long arms. That's not normal size. That's create a player size. That's the kind of interior presence that makes offensive linemen uncomfortable before the ball is even snapped. Now here's where it gets real. Harris is talented. You turn on the tape and you see flashes, disruption, power, length, moments where he absolutely overwhelms people. But it wasn't consistent. His career at Ole Miss was hit or miss. Some games he looked dominant, other games he disappeared, and that's exactly why this is interesting. Because there are defensive line coaches around the league who love raw prospects like this. And if there's one thing we know about the 49ers, it's that they believe in developing defensive linemen. They see traits first, production second. Harris wasn't some random recruit either. Coming out in the 2022 class, he was a consensus 4-star prospect. On the 247 Sports Composite rankings, he was ranked number 136 overall in the nation. The number 20 defensive lineman, the number 4 player in the state of Mississippi. And look at who wanted him: Georgia, Alabama, LSU, Tennessee, Nebraska, Auburn, Florida State, Indiana, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Kansas. That's elite company. Ole Miss had to beat real powerhouses to land him. As a freshman, he mostly contributed on special teams, but over the last 3 seasons, he became a real defensive contributor. Over that stretch, he put up 123 total tackles, 17.5 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks. He also recorded 1 interception, 3 pass breakups, and forced a fumble. And here's the part I actually respect. A lot of what he did was dirty work, eating blocks, occupying space, letting others make plays. That stuff doesn't always show up on highlight reels, but it matters. He even earned all SEC recognition during his time in Oxford. Now let's zoom out and talk about why this matters for us. The 49ers are in desperate need of interior defensive line help. Desperate. We all saw it. When the interior doesn't hold up, everything collapses. The run defense softens. The linebackers get swallowed up. The edge rushers can't pin their ears back because quarterbacks can just step up in the pocket. It would not be shocking at all if the 49ers invest in multiple defensive tackles in the 2026 NFL Draft. Multiple. That's how serious this need is. And Harris? He fits the mold of a high upside swing, massive frame, rare length, raw but moldable. The kind of player a defensive line coach looks at and says, "Give me a year or two with him." As a fan, I'm torn. On one hand, I love the upside. You can't teach 6'8" and 330 pounds. You just can't. On the other hand, we're in a window right now. This roster is built to win. Do we have time to wait on a developmental interior player? That's the tension. But here's the thing. If they're doing formal interviews already, he's firmly on their radar. This isn't random smoke. This is groundwork. And while that's brewing quietly on the draft side, there's another situation that's way louder, way more aggressive, and honestly, way more dramatic. Because if the 49ers decide to go down this second path, it's not about developing potential, it's about detonating the league. And what it would cost us might shock you. Let's talk about that next. Now let's shift gears. Because this second situation, this is the kind of move that would shake the entire NFC. We're talking about the possibility of the 49ers making a move for Maxx Crosby from the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, publicly, the Raiders have been trying to cool down the trade rumors. They've been snuffing out the flames in press conferences, acting like there's nothing to see here. But come on. We've all watched this league long enough to know how this works. A lot of times that's just theater. For all we know, they're quietly fielding offers. And if they are, the 49ers absolutely should be calling. Because let's be honest, we need another pass rusher. John Lynch basically said as much at the scouting combine. He alluded to the need for more edge help. And while we could look to the draft, that's a gamble. Prospects take time. Development isn't guaranteed. Maxx Crosby is not a gamble. He's proven. He's relentless. He plays angry every snap. Pairing him with Nick Bosa? That's unfair. That's the kind of duo that wrecks playoff games. But here's the reality. According to Mike Florio, the Raiders would want 2 first-round picks and a player in return for Crosby. 2 first-rounders? Honestly, that's steep, but it's understandable. Elite pass rushers in their prime don't grow on trees. The real question is, what player would we send? And there are a few names floating around. First, Renardo Green. The Raiders' secondary is mediocre. Let's just call it what it is. Green had an up-and-down 2025 season with us. And part of that, in my opinion, was usage. He's at his best in man coverage, sticking to receivers, jamming at the line, getting physical. But we barely leaned into that with him. In Las Vegas, he could be an instant starter, possibly their best corner right away, especially if they run more man coverage. For them, that's appealing. For us, that would sting a little, but it's not untouchable territory. Then there's Bryce Huff. Now this one is interesting. Huff is a fairly effective pass rusher. When Nick Bosa was healthy, Huff was impactful as that complementary piece. But let's be real, his ceiling is as a number 2 option. He's not a franchise edge guy on his own. He also doesn't bring much against the run. If the Raiders are okay with that, Huff could help soften the blow of losing Crosby. Not replace him, nobody replaces Crosby. But at least give them something off the edge. And then, there's the one that might actually make the most sense. Mac Jones. And before you react, hear this out. At the scouting combine on Wednesday, Raiders offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak made it pretty clear he's not a fan of throwing a young quarterback out there immediately. He's planting seeds. Because they're likely drafting Fernando Mendoza. And there's a real chance Mendoza doesn't start his rookie year. So what does that mean? They need a bridge quarterback. And there's no way they can roll with Geno Smith again. That experiment would not inspire confidence. Mac Jones, on the other hand, fits Kubiak's system. He can operate structure, he can distribute, and he has 1 year left on a very cheap deal. If the Raiders need to adjust the contract, they can easily bump it up and add incentives. And for Jones, starting in Las Vegas could rebuild his value before he hits free agency. That might actually be the most enticing player piece in the deal. Now let's zoom out and think about this emotionally as fans. 2 first-round picks plus a player is heavy. That's future capital. That's betting on right now. But imagine Bosa on one side, Crosby on the other. Offensive lines wouldn't sleep all week preparing for us. Quarterbacks would feel it by halftime. This isn't a depth move. This is an all-in move. And it shows you something about where this franchise might see itself. Because when you combine that possibility with the interest in adding massive interior help in the draft, it's clear. They are obsessed with rebuilding dominance in the trenches. So now the big question is, what does all of this actually say about where we are as a team? Are we one bold move away, or are we trying to patch multiple cracks at once? Let's bring this together. When you step back and connect both of these situations, it tells you everything about where this team believes it is right now. On one side, you've got the front office doing deep homework on a massive interior defensive tackle with raw upside, a long-term investment, a developmental swing, a bet on traits and coaching. That's planning for sustainability. That's looking at the trenches and saying, we need size, we need disruption, we need to get stronger inside. On the other side, you've got the possibility of sending 2 first-round picks and a player for one of the most relentless pass rushers in football. That's not patient. That's not developmental. That's urgency. That's saying, our window is open and we're not waiting. And honestly, both approaches make sense. The interior defensive line has been a problem. When we can't control the middle, everything else suffers. The linebackers get exposed. The edges lose their angles. The entire structure of the defense weakens. Bringing in a 6'8", 330-pound presence with upside is about fixing that foundation for the next few years. But trading for an elite edge rusher? That's about finishing games in January. That's about making sure no quarterback in the NFC gets comfortable against us. So, what does this all reveal? It reveals a front office that knows the margin is thin, that knows we're talented, that knows we've been close, but also knows that close doesn't hang banners. To me, this feels decisive, not desperate, decisive. They're exploring every angle, the draft, trades, development, aggression. It shows awareness. It shows urgency without panic. And as a fan, I feel encouraged, because the worst thing you can have in this league is complacency, and this team is anything but complacent right now. Now let me ask you, would you rather swing big for the proven superstar and give up the picks, or build the trenches patiently through the draft and trust development? Drop your take in the comments. I really want to hear where you stand on this. And if you're rocking with the 49ers Nation Report, make sure you like this video. The channel is new, and I only want the real faithful in here. The fans who truly believe this team is going back to the Super Bowl next year. If that's you, hit subscribe and let's ride together. Because if these moves tell us anything, it's that the Niners aren't sitting still. And that should fire all of us up.